already to give a fatal blow. Observe the sums of time, guided by civilization. Light a beacon, spread the words. The world cries sounding from afar. Fire and sword piercing through. We'll never surrender. For our lives, for victory. From the King of Glory. The symbol, touch the sky. Together, heart champion charge. Without fear, climb the highest mountain. The way to glory is higher than the sky. The sail the world through the valley. And a hero that'll make history. Words will spread through kindness. Temple the God will walk on battle between legends never end. Swords come through the gates of hell. All will be ready. Unlike us, warriors, impeccable strategies. When the sharpest of blade are drawn, enemies will be cut. Rise assemble for all glory. Fight to the top, and will be my call. Storm is coming, reveal the mystery. Hidden warriors already to give a fatal blow. Observe the sums of time, guided by civilization. Light a beacon, spread the words. The world cries sounding from afar. Fire and sword piercing through. We'll never surrender. For our lives, for victory. From the King of Glory. The symbol, touch the sky. Together, heart champion charge. Without fear, climb the highest mountain. The way to glory is higher than the sky. The sail the world through the valley. And a hero that'll make history. Words will spread through kindness. Temple the God will walk on
What is going on, Governors? Chiscool here, and today we're casting the Ark of Osiris Grand Prix Finals, featuring 489 versus 60 GT in a best 2 out of 3 matchup. And joining me today to cast is none other than Plato Gaming. Good sir, welcome. How are you?
I'm doing well, Chiscool. It's been a while since we've casted together, but it should be a great series that we have on our hands today.
Yeah, it has been a minute since we've cast together. So over the last couple months, we've been casting pretty much every game. In fact, quite literally every game leading up to this moment. And the casting team split up to ensure that there was roughly equal coverage of all of the things happening leading up to the finals. But here we are, finally at the finals with the two best teams in the world. That's fair to say, right?
Yeah, this tournament is just such an interesting tournament, and it's been, in my opinion, a really, really successful one, showing both the Chinese server and international server. And it's the first tournament where we had both servers combined, battling it out so that we can see who the best teams in the world are. And we ended up having two international teams with 489 and 60 GT in these finals.
Yes, we what I'll say about that, which is kind of interesting, is that I believe that the international servers have simply had more repetitions. They've been around, if I'm not mistaken, for more Ark of Osiris League rounds. And look, at the end of the day, I hate to be cliche, but like practice does make perfect. This is a game format where repetitions and fighting against tough opponents with your team goes a really long way. And seeing two international server teams make it to the finals, I think signals a little bit just how valuable that extra time to sort of grow as a team has ultimately been. But let's get into our thoughts about this matchup. In fact, I can showcase the bracket leading up to this moment. In fact, this is the bracket from last week. We know who the winners were. Let me grab the updated one really quickly here. What are your thoughts about the bracket leading up to this brawl? I feel like both teams have had some pretty rough fights leading up to this moment.
Yeah, it's been, again, we have the best of the best at this tournament. The 16 teams here. We had the two realm winners from the past two seasons. From each realm, we have 4 realms in the international server and 2 realms in the Chinese server, as well as 4 teams from the sign-up stage. And the quality of play this tournament, Chisco, has been spectacular in terms of the different strategies employed. And I think, yeah, hopefully this bodes well for the future of Osiris League and Grand Prix as an esport moving forward. But as you were talking about the bracket, it's been a really interesting run for 489. They versed USD in the round of 16, 88 VH in the quarterfinals, and then A97 last week in the semifinals. We'll have to see how they get pushed here against 60 GT on their side of the bracket.
Yeah, GT battled against YYDS, they battled against VoK, and then they had their rematch against 93T, which is actually really exciting to watch. There's a bunch of reasons why that's the case. I mean, those two teams battled it out in the grand finals not too long ago, and 93T won. So 93T was winner for their realm. GT was winner for their realm in the grand finals that puts the realm winners against each other. 93T got the win. And here we saw GT flip that. Now, there's a bunch of reasons why that might be the case, but one of the reasons that people hypothesized, including myself, is that, yeah, you know, GT was in KVK at the time that they were fighting 93T. And is that a big distraction? Yes. Yes, KVK is a big distraction. So no distractions for them now. They're fighting against 489. This is about to go down, which is really exciting. In fact, in just a few moments, we're going to jump into the matchup here. So while I get set up to do that, Plato, why don't you talk to me a little bit about what you think the score might be in this matchup? What do you think the differential is going to be between these two teams? I mean, are we looking at like a 1,000 point game? We're looking at a 5,000 point game, 10,000 point game. Like, I think these are going to be pretty close, right?
This is the pinnacle of Grand Prix right here, where it's the last two teams. So I'm thinking it's about to be a really, really close one. I think it's going to come down to a final arc and probably a 3K point differential between these two, at least. I don't know about your side of the bracket, but last week's matches for 489 were so close. I think we saw like a 200, 400 point difference. And it's so funny because by the end of the match, we end up talking about provisioning scores and who's provisioning versus who's not provisioning. 60GT has been really, really good in terms of their provisionings, I believe, getting around 4K in terms of points via provisions alone. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens at the end of the match and how close these mid fights and structure games are going to be.
Yeah, I agree with you that this is very likely to be a very, very close matchup. In fact, we also were talking about provisioning in that matchup where 93T was battling against 60GT. So 100%.
Who would have thought gathering would be the way that you win a semifinals match and would be a point of contention for the finals here. It's such a funny I guess it's such a funny mechanic where it actually does make a difference and it can make or break a win or a loss in these situations.
It sure can. And, you know, I can tell you who predicted this, actually. For those who've been around for a while, you may remember Gecko Gaming from back in the day. He thought provisioning was completely OP, and he's not wrong. Now, a part of the reason that provisioning is OP in this environment is that everybody has access to the same building blocks for what to work with, which includes a bunch of equipment, and that equipment includes the gathering equipment. So the upside is that pretty much everybody could, I believe, have some legendary gathering equipment ready to go. But downside is that you can't actually see the nodes that you're going to go to provision to because they're in fog. So right now we have the visual range of both teams. And as a reminder, this stream is going to be on a long delay to preserve the competitive integrity of this matchup, which now begins in 5 seconds. Let's go. And the gates open, baby. Here it is. Your Grand Prix Finals Round 1, 60GT in blue versus 489 in red. First hidden sentry.
We're going to be seeing a little bit of a split in terms of focus here. From what I've seen in 960's case, they have almost won every single arc in the Grand Prix. It hasn't been the same case for 489. I believe they've won around half of them, or a bit more than half. So how they complement that, though, is they are really, really strong in the building game. So we'll have to see how 489 and 60GT play into each other for these mids and these altars that they have.
Yeah, interesting position here of the 489 sentry, granting vision of partially the pyramid, but in some ways kind of a mirrored play by both teams to see, hey, where is the enemy going? Although actually, it does look like GT is more interested in this vector coming from the Shrine of War, and look at all this information it's going to reveal. They're going to see all these marches swinging up north. By the way, as this game is warming up, and, you know, the openers here are pretty standard, so we'll be on the lookout, cruising around the map for anything crazy, but I don't think we'll see it, right? We expect standard gameplay going for the Desert Altar, both sides doing the same thing mirrored across the map, but let's get a peek here at the marches they're using, because, I mean, I'm sure you've observed this as well, but it's generally 4 cavalry and an infantry march. And it includes none other than Ethel and Trajan, which you love to see.
Yeah, it has been 4 infantry. I mean, 4 cavalry.
4 cavalry and an infantry. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
You know what I meant.
I said it wrong.
Everyone knows what I meant. I knew what you meant, buddy. We got you. Yeah, 4 cavalry and an infantry. So cavalry players rejoice. Cavalry OP confirmed for ARC, hands down.
Yeah, it's just so strong to have the movement speed. It's all about pressure in games of Osiris League, where you have to get from point A to point B to fight. And the truth of the matter is, with such a wide map, those milliseconds that you get, or those seconds rather, that you get from cavalry and their movement speed is just so crucial to your positioning. If you can contest a desert altar versus if you can't contest a desert altar, those little milliseconds really, really matter. And that's where cavalry shine.
Speaking of which, big force moving through the middle for GT, 3 rallies in synchronization with a sort of spread formation with the field marches making their way through. BK Love intercepting. Also, looks like Vend Attack also intercepting here. So there's definitely pressure going through middle, a lot of it from GT onto these outposts. Rally also still going forward toward the obelisk.
I think these are... Going for these outposts is so interesting, Chisco, because with the fog, with everything being a lot more, I guess, mysterious in a way where you can't see the whole map, these outposts providing vision actually give a lot of vision. They also give some points, 80 first occupation points. Dust Up used early here by 489, though. It looks like they're going to be trying to go for the structure game early. Usually,
I love this play for 489.
Yeah, usually we see teams save for the first mid fight, but they're out here saying, like, you know what, let's get an early lead through these structures, and let's see how 60 GT respond.
I mean, if this doesn't work, GT definitely wins the arc. So this is a huge moment. Very early play by 489 to control the field and get the first capture points. And when you think about it, there are a lot of points at play here for first capture. So why not use a skill? I mean, the reason is that people are trying to win the mid fight. But if you figure your opponent is going to win the mid fight, I guess they take an alternate route here. By the way, Gorgo Garrison, this is such a critical moment, by the way. This is one of those moments where the micro optimizations really matter. And I suppose reinforcements are actually, oh my gosh. Look at all this GT presence through me.
Yeah, 60 GT is really forcing down these structures here of these outposts.
Yeah.
And I actually think that the Dust Up kind of made it so the garrisons would guarantee win against these rallies.
That's
right. So they wouldn't have to, if there weren't any reinforcements, they wouldn't have to really contest. And I actually think the garrisons will still win. Wow, even getting swarmed down. These garrisons are taking quite a beating, but they're still able to hold off against 3 swarmers and a rally. It looks like it will go down, but I guess that's just showing the power of Gorgo Garrison with Charles
insane,
Martel.
Bro. She is insane anti-swarm. So strong, especially, by the way, with Constantine. Really good in this particular situation as well. But let's comment. Oh, it just changed. 4 altars were in the hands of 489. I mean, if you're going to use a skill, you'd better get that value, right? And they used a skill. So now the question is, can they lock in the value? And I don't know that if they can here. Already we see GT has a Hera YSS stationed in the Sky Altar. So this situation feels more stable for them, although Garrison now drops down to yellow.
Yeah, one thing I will say about that, Chisco, for the Sky Altar, they had a rally go towards the obelisk, and then they canceled the rally, made all 5 marches synchronously walk towards the Sky Altar, and they were actually able to slip in with a garrison for that Sky Altar, which is why it looked like they had 4 altars there for a little bit. A sneaky little tactic by 49. But I definitely think it's going to be a win for them if they're able to hold at least one of these altars with 750 first occupation points, plus denying 150 points per minute once it's captured. I think it's definitely a win if they're able to hold this desert altar for a minute.
You know, it's funny, but I love when teams do something surprising. And I say it's funny because at the end of the day, what 489 is doing is asking a question. The question 489 is asking is, have you prepared for the possibility that we don't go for the first arc? Have you prepared? And if you have not prepared, can you adapt? If you can't, we are going to actually get a bunch of points off you. And they are well positioned to take a bunch of points off of GT.
Ooh, they took the Desert Altar back, though.
22 seconds
take.
left for those first capture points. Great play by GT. Locking
And they
up.
also took 489's Desert Altar, denying about 300 points on their end as well. So CCGT, even with the skill disadvantage, was able to rebound. And I think this is actually a really good spot for them.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I mean, I will point out that I do think 489 is now postured to get first cap on 3 of the altars. And possibly Shrine of Life up top, by the way. So I don't know. 489 is going for the buildings. And GT has to figure out how they adjust. And you know what I love about this? Is when you don't know what your enemy is going to do, sometimes you're forced to make some tough choices that may not work out in your favor. Like if 489 switches to go mid in an unexpected way, they could catch GT overcommitting to their buildings. Do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's only 3 minutes till arc right now. So like, let's look in the middle. Nobody's
This is the latest mid rotation I think we've seen out of the Grand Prix.
What mid rotation? There is no mid rotation.
There's literally no mid rotation right now. But that's just how 60GT has had to respond to the situation where all of their structures are blinking, all their structures are taken. And now we're in a situation where their outer lane structures are taken and they have to choose. Do we send more people mid or do we start sending people towards these outer lane structures and forfeit first capture points? Because as you said, Chiskel, it's a really, really tough situation to be in. And I will say, Rise of Kingdoms did publish an interview from 489, and they said that they practiced 4 times a week before KVK started. Now it's not 4 times a week, but still, that's such a huge amount of practice where at this point, your players have the onus to kind of think for themselves, right? They see the situation and they could kind of they probably do have lane leads, but they also know where their marches should be, where exactly they should rotate. So I think we're seeing this to fruition where there are 3 altars under control. I think the Sky Altar of 60GT, 10 seconds left. Let's see what happens here.
5 seconds.
It's so close.
Oh, 3. There was a great reinforcement.
The final reinforcement.
Good swap outs.
Great swap for sure. That is huge for 489.
They had to work for it. That's for sure. But they score the first cap, I believe, on Shrine of Life and also Sky Altar. I mean, that's got to be the trade they were going for, right? Optimistically, you get everything. But realistically, just those 2 buildings is a pretty good take.
Yeah, I think you sacrifice that any time of the day, especially if you weren't planning on fully contesting for this mid fight. The structure focus is just so hard for the standard teams to, I guess, adjust upon. Because, you know, you have this internal timer, Chiskel. You've played Ark of Osiris. You played in Osiris League, where it's during this time, we move mid. During that time, we reset our marches. But once your opponents start pushing, especially for these first occupation points, it's just so threatening.
Here's the mid fight unfolding. A small amount of 489 is here. I'm honestly surprised 489 pushed in at all, rather than letting just GT come to them. I think the goal was to pressure the temple, but you kind of can't. Like you 100% lose if they're just going to free hit you on the walk. So this late engage from 489 is creating a weird situation where GT's got a lot of space to pick up that arc freely. And I thought the plan was not for 489 to get this arc anyways. So why are there so many people in the middle? I have an answer here. But Plato, what's your thought as to why 489, even though they're going for buildings, would send to middle like they did here?
Well, if you see the stat faces from all the marches, they're all coming from base. So it would have been hard for those marches to contest structures regardless. So I think it's just the thought process is let's contest the closest objective possible, which in this case is the middle fight, as well as they already hold most of the structures of 60 GT.
4 altars. Just as I say
they
it's
hold
3.
yeah, they hold 3 altars currently. It was 4. And now the 60 GT marches are rotating off mid. They're not completely healthy, and it should be easier for them to, one, have vision of where these marches are going. They have 1 march per murder ball here, so they see the exact numbers of people going towards the desert altar as well as the Shrine of War. But also, the marches that are marching there aren't fully healthy, so they get to contest and I guess hold the structures a lot easier than if they didn't contest at all.
Yeah, that was my read. Is the reason you send to mid is you make it so that it's not worth going back home with those weakened GT mid marches, but they're also not full strength. So you're trying to create that weird push-pull that happens after an arc fight where one team gets a surge and then is weak for a while because the opposing team comes back with all fresh marches. I think that's the dynamic that they were forcing.
The purposeful sad face.
Yeah. Yeah. Because look at these marches. Like, half of them are yellow. Some of them are red. None of them are full health. It's not the same. Like, if they actually abandoned middle, all those marches could push to the altar full strength. And that's just more dangerous than weakening them in mid, getting a fast trip home, and then taking a walk back out.
I'm just looking at 4, 8, 9 structure filling, and I feel like they always have 1 march just ready to fill when we feel like the structure is going to fall.
True.
Every single time. This Shrine of War, for most teams, would have fallen already, but it actually looks like they're going to be able to hold.
Yeah. I mean, it's on their own side of the map, but to your point, a building like the Shrine of War has a lower capacity for troops, so it's harder to hold. Which means everybody that's involved,
look at that, it's
gotta
so
be
low.
swapping. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! Wow, that's great. The swaps are insane here.
People make fun of me when I say that attack equipment is really good in Ark of Osiris, and like this is literally why. Because in moments like this, you kind of don't care. In fact, you don't care at all about the quality of your trade against your march. You just need pressure on the structure. You just need pressure. And on the one hand, just living longer is pressure. But on the other hand, more attack means more DPS. More DPS means less time to refill. And 489 is taking big advantage of that refill opportunity window, and they're just keeping that structure alive. Carrier, by the way, they're chilling.
There is a 4K point differential for 489's favor, but on the bright side, 60GT do have control of the arc, so they get to dictate the pace of the game, if it should be a multiple arc game, if they're going to only hold so that there's going to be 2 arcs.
I tell you what,
we'll have to see what 60GT do with this. What would you do, Chisco?
I'd dunk that thing, baby. I'd dunk that thing with
style.
Well. And then go for the next arc, and then dunk that one, and go for the next arc, and then dunk that one. Look, you have an ability point advantage, right? So capitalize on it. Go for more arcs. Take advantage of the fact that, I mean, did they even have to use a skill in mid moments ago? I don't remember.
I believe they did use a couple skills to where they're now even now. So they don't
that's
really
an interesting choice.
Yeah,
that feels like an overcommit to me.
I feel that feels like a and maybe that's also why 489 went mid, is to kind of feint that they are contesting.
Oh yeah,
use skill points. And
gosh,
it feels like it's more so like a force of habit where, we're mid, let's use a skill. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's really awkward. 489 baited the skills out of GT. That's actually like a huge play. Because otherwise, GT, like, they could carry that point advantage they had from the beginning. They could have carried a point advantage from that mid fight into the entire rest of the match, which they needed to do.
Yeah, as well as being lower in terms of score, you gain more points. If you are, I believe, right, you gain more points if you are losing in terms of points. So
you do.
Could have
gain more.
They could have had exactly. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Oh yeah, we cruise around the map here, and there's a lot to be hyped about. But they are holding the arc. Look, hey, these teams know what they're doing, so I'm sure they have a lot of thought behind why they're holding. But in my eyes, if 489 has just signaled, we are going to rock your world and building so hard you can't handle it, I would try to score as many arcs as possible. And, you know, I'm oversimplifying it, but like, have I oversimplified it? Like, if your opponent's going for buildings, you'd better score a lot of arcs. And the longer they let this run, the less arcs they can actually score, which means, by the way, they benefit less from the rising value of arc after arc after arc. Each one goes up by 500. So
That is true.
I mean, I'd score this arc, baby. And look, they could score the arc now and it'd be like, okay, it was all part of the plan. They were just waiting for some ability points. But if they run this thing the full 15 minutes, I don't know, man. It makes me really uncomfortable for them, quite frankly.
If they do hold this arc, I think this indicates two things. For me, one, they are confident that they can hold off against 489's building game, and they have been doing a decent job. It's been like a back and forth where sometimes they take the Desert Altar of 489, sometimes the Desert Altar of theirs falls. Right now, it does look like it is 489's favor, but I think the second thing is they don't want to. They don't want to. They're kind of scared to see what happens if 489 does go mid. Maybe they have some indication that 489 has some mid strategy, or because if they do lose one arc, Chiskel, this first arc is done. It's over.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but literally game over. GT can't lose a single arc, especially not now.
So, I think they're just trying to hold as many arcs. They're trying to lower the amount of arcs so that their provisions, and that's going to be the second point, they're super confident in terms of their provisioners, where they're like, okay, let's provision the point difference back, where it's for sure like 4K points for in their favor if they continue to provision, and they're going to hold their structures, they're going to get this first arc, and then they're going to all in for the second arc and then try to win off provisions is probably going to be my thought process behind everything that they're doing right now.
Yeah, buildings plus provisions is, I mean, if 489 does that, how do you stop them? Like, even if they don't get an arc, like the lead they have is commanding. And again, I think I really feel like the only counter for GT is they have to be scoring this arc. I don't think they're going to do it. 4 altars now, 489.
It's actually 60 GT with the provisions. I don't see any 489 provisioners at all. So I think that's why 60 GT is like, let's lower the amount of arcs so that provisioning is worth more. I see like 4, 5, 60 GT provisioners, at caravans when I see 0 for 489. So that indicates to me that that 60 GT, with them holding this arc, they're like, we trust our provisioners, we trust our garrison leads to hold these structures, and we trust our mid fight for the second mid fight that they'll win that. So the checklist for 60 GT right now is they have to hold their own structures right now, and they also have to win the second mid fight, and they're in a decent spot to if they do those two things, they're in a decent spot with the provisionings to carry them forward.
Yeah, so provisioning could represent as much as 3,000, maybe even 4,000, 5,000.
I've seen 5,000, but I believe the average for 60 GT was around 4K. So we could kind of expect a 4K provisioning from them as we talk about this. They actually just captured the arc, so
yeah, good. They needed to cap that arc. Like, the holding thing was just making me really uncomfortable for them. I mean, I'm a simple guy here. Take arcs, win game. That's what I see here. It's like, just take arcs, win game, right? Like, you can win the mid fights. Didn't you say earlier in the stream they win all the mid fights?
Yeah, they won almost. I think they lost one. Like, they won almost all of their mid fights.
Right.
I will say though, maybe there is something with their skill compositions where they might not have all the skills that a typical team does, or because there have been a lot of teams that we've been seeing use sneaky tactics, and we'll have to see if there's gonna be some sneakiness if they didn't take all of the standard skills such as To the Death, Heaven's Grace, all those skills, and maybe they picked up a different skill, which is why they kind of want to minimize the mid fights and go for this, I guess, what the caravan driven, provision driven gameplay.
Yeah, I mean, we did see GT in the last week or so use a novel combination of skills as a counter to the death, and it worked. So it is possible that they're just have been saving up to drop the combo, and they know their timing for that, and that could be the play. And if the provisioning really turns out to be the difference, I mean, wow, that would be pretty hype here. We can kind of get a look at how the match is going so far. Only 500 points of provisioning scored so far. So not a lot of provisioning yet, but still not nothing. Really impressive building game here.
It's going to be really interesting to see when all the provisioners come in. And then after Grand Prix, maybe being called a farmer is a compliment now in 2020, 2023, 2024, with how important it's been throughout these last couple of matches in the Grand Prix. I would be pretty comfortable right now about 60 GT, 2K point differential. They are really good at mid. They also have about 4K of provisions potentially up their sleeves. So we'll have to see how 489 continues to pressure this building game.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm in 489's shoes, what do you change going into this next mid fight? Anything? Nothing?
It's an interesting dilemma here where I think you try to pull a 1093 where you don't go all into the middle fight. You kind of, because one thing I'll say about 1093 or 93T is every single time they go mid, they somehow capture a structure of their opponents. So I would definitely still go mid for this next mid fight if I were 489, because securing this arc really secures you a really big advantage in this game. But I wouldn't all in it because it's not a do or die arc. It's more so just like a secure arc. If they can somehow get a structure lead while also contesting this mid arc, I think that's going to be a good play for them.
Man, really impressive defense here at the Desert Altar. Let's get a look around. Next Desert Altar, big brawl going on. Yeah, I mean, so you bring up an interesting point. Like, will 489 take a page from the playbook of 93T? And there's several plays there, actually. There are many plays in that playbook. One is what I've just been calling 93ing an arc at this point, where the opposing team takes the arc, they're bringing it home, and then you get the carrier as it's walking home and score the arc. You ambush the carrier, right?
Yep.
And it's not that that hadn't been done in the past. It's just 93 did it to so many teams, so many times. It's actually just shocking. Alternatively, you could also try another play we saw 93 do, unfortunately for them, unsuccessfully, which is to master strategy the arc away. And like, not just master strategist after we have control of the battlefield, but literally to time it so that the second the arc is able to be picked up, you have hoped that you were the one to get it and you teleport away the carrier. And 93 tried that in the last game. They gambled in a way that I'm not sure they needed to do, but like, they gambled the arc, and if they won the coin toss, like they would have won the match at that point. But unfortunately for them, Master Strategist only carries 30 marches. There were more than 30 marches in the middle. Would have been a perfect play, except their arc carrier got left behind. So
that's exactly what happened actually for the 489 match, except it was to A97, their opponents in the Chinese server.
Oh, A97 ended up on the wrong end of that?
Yeah, A97, they had too many marches for Master Strategies, and the arc carrier got left behind.
Yeah.
And that was like 10 seconds until the match ended, so they weren't able to capture that last arc. It was it's pretty insane the unluckiness that master strategies can have sometimes.
I mean, the name is Master Strategist. Why are people gambling? Why are people gambling? Use the strategy portion of that ability's namesake, right? Like, in my opinion, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think it's best when used strategically. And like, okay. So gambling is actually fine in that situation where you're playing the 50-50-ish, I don't know, where your carrier maybe gets carried or not. If you think for sure you're going to lose the game anyways, if you don't get this, right? Like, that's the kind of play you run.
It's like a Hail Mary.
Yeah, we're going to lose, so we have to do this. I respect that. But I don't know that these teams were in situations where they had to take that risk. And 2 out of 2 didn't benefit. I kind of wonder... I don't know. It probably picks up the marches randomly, right? There's no way that holding the arc would somehow deprioritize your march. That would be really awkward, wouldn't it?
I think it's random. We will have to do some laboratory science if it's like the first 30 marches that are in there, or if it's random. Let's just say it's random though. As we talk though, 489 full mid. So this is the arc that they're like, we're not letting them just take arcs for free.
They can't.
Well, there's actually no one out in the outer lanes for either team, as we see Total Vision used by 489, Dust Up used by 60 GT.
Yeah. So 489 can't let GT just get this arc, because if they do, they could go for a 2-arc game. So 489 knows that if they win 1 arc, they win the game. So this is it.
This is it. The Showdown Heaven's Grace used by 60 GT.
Mirrored.
We got mirrored. All the skills are mirrored here. It was 8 points used by both teams.
Wow.
Let's see the sad faces. Wow, this is going to be such a big mid fight. And I actually think I'm curious to see why 489, they didn't have to go full mid here. This is playing into 960's strategy where they want to go for these mid fights.
Well, I mean, it is and it isn't. In my opinion, especially given the provisioning situation, we know that getting an arc here means a win for 489. But if we look at the sad faces, 489, I don't think they're winning this arc.
Yeah, they got sad faced off mid, and they also lost Skyalter. So they lost the building game. They lost mid. This is really bad for 489 on their side.
It's costly. But here's the thing. It's not over yet in mid, although I could zoom out and get a better sense. It's not over yet, although maybe it kind of is. But they could always take this arc on the backswing. And that's now what I think has to be their play, if they want to seriously go for this arc.
I don't know. It's
pretty one-sided, right?
I mean, there's a reason why 960 has been winning almost all of their mid fights, and it's they just know how to murder ball up, and yeah, it's interesting because it's the opposite of. Oh wait, 49 has an arc, by the way.
Wait a minute. How far did they take that thing? They're so
literally
busy looking at the middle
outpost.
That's a long route. They took that. What I don't understand is how did GT not see that? And how did it go that far?
Wait, what is going on? What? We were looking at the mid fight. Wow, this is a super one-sided. 60 GT didn't hit the arc carrier, and now it's almost at the outpost.
You could take the arc on the backswing, or you could just take it when it spawns. How about that plan? What do you think about that plan, Plato?
Oh my goodness! Wow, this is actually a game saver in my opinion for 489.
Absolutely.
The fact that the arc is on their end. Look at the amount of marches sandwiching 60 GT. Oh my goodness!
GT, I actually think they need to score it at the outpost, or they're not going to score it.
Yeah, they definitely have to score at the outpost. There's no way.
I don't think they're going to score it. They've got to be hectic and voice right now.
This is the backswing that we weren't talking about. It's usually in 60 GT's side, but now the fact that it's in 489 side is insane. That arc carrier is the MVP of this match.
Well, there's a name for what just happened. It's called tunnel vision, right? Gamers are very familiar with tunnel vision. Even as casters, we are so accustomed to the arc carrier not getting a run like that we were tunnel visioned on the mid fight as it was unfolding, right? We didn't see what was happening right in front of us. That is literally like the example of tunnel vision. And I feel like, given how far this arc went, I don't know that GT shot callers saw this either. I mean,
Yeah,
how could they be winning by that much and see this happen and not do anything about it, right?
That was probably one of the most important clutch arc runs I think I've seen
in the history of the
game.
game. Yeah.
Yeah, like this is the Grand Prix. This is the creme de la creme. This is the World Cup, essentially, of Arc. And they were able to walk from mid without any support straight to a 4-9 side. And this Arc, as we said, is so important.
They win the game
for
with this
4-9
arc,
and
hands down.
And their control. Yeah.
This wins them the game if they lock this up and continue to have a good building game. That's this arc locks it up. And again, like one of two things happened. Either GT shot callers saw this and made the wrong call of not taking out the carrier, or they tunnel visioned and missed it too. I'm inclined to believe they missed it, honestly.
Yeah.
Not that I think GT missed as much of anything, but like if they didn't go for the carrier, which they didn't, the most logical explanation is they didn't see it, because you can't let this happen for the reason you see happening on the screen.
I think that was a strategic let them pick it up so the timer resets.
No.
I don't know. Yeah.
Look, they're
focusing down the Liang instead of the arc carrier, so
you know, I'm as much as anyone else a fan of Lord of the Rings, and a wizard arrives precisely when they mean to, but I don't think anything about that was precisely how GT envisioned that would go. Other than winning mid.
Oh no, I was talking about the arc right now. The arc was actually captured by 60 GT.
Oh,
but 489
they let them pick it up. I see.
489 let them pick it up, and then now the timer allows them to hold it, so it's the last arc.
Yes, sure. That was a mistake for GT to pick up that arc, 100%. Yes, agreed. So for those that don't understand what just happened there, anytime the arc changes hands among teams, so from one team to another team, not from one teammate to another teammate on the same team, but if red team holds the arc, then blue team holds the arc, which is what just happened, the 15-minute arc reset timer is reset. So if this 15-minute timer goes to 0, the arc goes back to the middle. So by, as Plotto was saying, having GT pick up the arc there, that reset the 15-minute timer, which now enables 489 to hold this arc till the end of the match. Dude, Plotto, is this GG's? I mean, it's not quite, not literally, but that's a lot of points.
It's gonna be a lot of points, yeah.
I will say the point gap has narrowed. Like the real question now is how much provisioning is left in the tank for GT, and if they are provisioning an upwards of 4K, 5K, like there could be another 4,500 points of provision score just laying in wait, right? Like it's very dangerous still. This is a match that we're saying it's not so close, but it's actually very close. If you're 489, Plotto, if you're on that team, would you start provisioning?
I probably would. Like what 489 needs to do is they're contesting opponent structures, which is good. But what they need to do is it's kind of tough though if you don't have the provisioning mindset, and I think Ruz talked about this with 60 GT versus 93T, where you kind of have a schedule and kind of like set roles that you have throughout the tournament, right? And if you're not used to provisioning, it's such a skill-based thing to do now, where you have to know where the nodes are and where they usually spawn. You have to be really vigilant in terms of the timings and everything. So I think they either have to provision or they have to contest the opponent's structures here, because it's actually on 60 GT that have to do something here, right? Because they're down in points, they're down in arc. And they're doing exactly what they need to do with the Shrine of Life, where they need to take over structures and just take away the points per minute, try to make this gap as small as possible. Every single time they take an altar, for example, that's minus 300 points to 489. So they just have to continue chipping away, hold their own structures, and then hope that the provisions are going to be enough to win.
Man, the building game is precarious. It's not an easy one to win. You feel like you're more ahead than you actually are, because you have to be ahead because of the way that arc scores work. But they did get their one mandatory arc. So I mean, if 489 can't win from this position, they can't win. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, I think this game is going about as good as a building game can go. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
This is about as good as you can expect the building game to go. So if they can't win here, I don't know that they can win with this approach they're taking.
Yeah, because they took the more valuable arc too. So they're going to be up in terms of arc points. So it'll all have to be based off provisions, the difference for 60 GT.
Yep.
Because they're down in structures. They should be down in arcs. The only thing that they could be up right now is provisions.
Right. Yeah. No, that's an interesting point. So when you look at what the final scoreboard will be, and we see now 1,500 points almost in provision score for GT, right? But 489 is going to have a 500 point lead on arcs. And they're going to have a huge point on buildings. The difference has to come from provisions for GT, or they're going to have to do more to narrow the gap on buildings. That's for sure. I would say maybe they need to do more to narrow the gap on buildings.
They definitely do. Yeah.
And I think they're doing that. Like, they know that now it's a building game. It's not that GT can't play the building game. It's just not their strategy. So now GT needs to flip things around with how they might normally approach the match and push those buildings.
I will say the MVP of the match, the MVP commander for 489, 100% is Double C.
Double C.
Double
do you know
C
if they were
Julius
using
Caesar
as well? Or who?
Yeah, Double C Julius Caesar is
Triple C. Let's go.
Triple C, indeed. Yeah, they got the triple C's walking to these structures, and that's why they've been able to hold. That's why they've been able to, win so much in these structure games. And there was also a double C that pulled away with the arc. So, arc carriers, fillers, like double C, actually really, really strong in Arc of Osiris.
I can't believe we're about to see Triple C be the clutch of this match. That's actually surprising to me. Here's a question. This is a little weird, but what about using Master Strategy as soon as you have the points? Now, if you're GT, and try to force them to score the arc.
Oh, you know what? That might be a play. Just so that there is for sure going to be an arc spawning.
GT needs another arc. Now, do they guarantee that they lose the arc if they don't have the 5 ability points? I don't think they do guarantee that they lose the arc, honestly. I think, unironically, GT should Master Strategist onto the carrier right now. If they have that on the bar, we don't know if they do. And they have the points, as soon as it's up, they should do it. Because, they could use some points here and there to get some incremental advantage on the buildings, but, it all depends on if GT thinks they're going to win or lose. If GT is like, man, we're actually going to lose, then they should do Master Strategist. If they think they can win from their provisions by staying the course, then they should stay the course. But remember, after this arc is scored, there's going to be 4,500 points that need to be made up, and they have 15 minutes to make up that differential. I mean, even going even in the building game is not enough. It's not enough to make that up.
They need to make an advantage. And the thing is, they're not even. The Shrine of Life keeps being taken by 4 and 9. So they're even down in points per minute.
Right.
So I definitely think they have to make some form of play of the arc. Maybe master strategies. If they have sneaky tactics or something.
Sneaky tactics would work. Hey, look, sneaky tactics, some marches, and walk down there and put pressure on the arc. You need to force them to score this arc so that you have another opportunity for a mid arc. And then they actually could win. GT could win from that position for sure. Yeah, okay. They don't have as many points in mid. Well, guess what? This is why you're the toughest mid fight team in the game. Like, sometimes you got to throw your weight around. And this is one of those moments where, like, they should try to win the mid fight at a disadvantage. 100%. Because they'll probably win anyways.
I can't believe that the game actually came down to that mid pull from that 4-9 player. Whoever it was insane, where everyone was tunnel visioned. This arc is actually might be the make or break the difference as we see someone from 60GT actually start walking around this arc. Let's see what happens here. Master strategies.
There it is.
Used by 60GT, and yeah, they had to capture the arc. So
there it is.
I think, and is this an opposite master strategies? I think it might be an opposite.
They're taking the marches out?
Yeah.
Huh. So they walked over?
Yeah, they walked over and then they took the marches out.
Hey, I mean, that's one way to do it. I mean,
yeah, so arcs captured.
Dude, I got GT
brain.
We're aligned on what was supposed to happen there. But now what happens? Interesting choice to bring those marches home. I don't know that I would have. I mean,
I think they wanted to make a play to capture that arc. So if the arc carrier was sleeping, they would be able to kill the arc carrier, capture the take control of the arc, and then teleport the arc out. I guess was the play. But
okay. Yeah. That makes more sense.
But either way, it does achieve their objective where 4-9 did capture, and now
this is huge.
There will be a final arc match.
Is huge.
Yeah, there will be a final arc battle.
GT needed this. This is exactly what they needed. They're right back in the game now. They are actually right back in the game. All they need to do is not tunnel vision the field fight, and they'll be fine. Whoopsies. Dude, it's funny because I'm seeing chat catch up here. And yeah, tunnel vision. Chat is catching on to tunnel vision. That's literally what happened to the arc.
That's the difference of this match. Yeah.
It's
literally
the definition of tunnel vision. Like, there it is. Like, that's it. And the thing is that when you fight in the middle like that, that's not easy. Like, I hope chat realizes it's actually very difficult to control your marches, target what you ought to be targeting, rage hop between marches. Like, you get tunnel vision. Like, that's what happened.
4 altars taken by 4-9 though. This mid push is going to be
critical.
The make or break for 60GT.
It is.
Yep.
But the timing of this, I think, is not terrible for GT. Like, they have time to take these buildings back. Maybe it's not such a great timing, actually. This is 6 minutes till arc is actually a little awkward for losing your altars.
I think at this point there's no good timing to lose your altars with the point differential and the 11 minutes left in the game. Every single point counts, and that's minus 600 points per minute, or minus 300. Yeah, minus 300 points per minute right now. But it's going to be minus 600 points as soon as these altars start actually generating points for 4-9, because it's 150 points taken away from you, but it's also 150 points given to the opponent. So it's really, really big to where 60GT definitely should try to recapture these altars, and it'll definitely mess up their mid timing here.
This is unreal. Just looking around the map. I mean, this mid fight's everything. This is it. And they can't master strategist the arc away, by the way. Master strategist for GT has been consumed. So they will have 5 minutes to score the arc, which, by the way, is more than enough time, right? No problem. Or is it a problem? What do you think? I
think it is enough time if they win the mid fight decisively. The only problem for them is they're down points. So if they win mid fight decisively when they're down points, then that's going to be a problem for 4-9. But I think 4-9 should be in a decent spot here. Yeah.
So the thing is that 4-9 wins 2 ways. One is if they win the mid fight, they win the game. The other is if they stall out the mid fight, they win the game. 489 doesn't actually have to take this arc. They just have to stop GT from taking the arc.
Exactly. They have to deny the opportunity for 60 GT to gain those arc points.
Wow.
It looks like, 489 full sending mid right now. So they definitely got the memo.
Yeah, no, dude, this is it. This is it. Of course you're right. Yeah, like, yes, full send mid. Do it. The buildings, dude, there's only 9 minutes left. You only get so many points from buildings. They're already up 5,000 points. Like, who cares? I mean, obviously you care, but like, if you get this arc, you definitely win in 489, right? There's too many win conditions for 489. That's the problem. Like 489 has choices. They could push the buildings. They might actually just win with full send on buildings. Like there's choices, actually 3 ways for 489 to win.
Yeah, they could have full send on buildings too, actually.
The arc, push the buildings. There's only one way for GT to win this game. It is win the arc. That's it. It's the only way.
The thing that's crazy too is we'll always look back at that arc pull. The reason why 489 has all these choices is because they're up, and that's because they're able to win that second arc. So I'm imagining the situation right now. If you're 60 GT where you won that second arc, you'd be up. You'd be up right now, actually.
Oh wow! Reinforcements were seconds away for getting into the Shrine of Life. This is a nice pickup for 60 GT, 5% march speed, 5% health. I mean, look, you take enough of these holy sites and you actually get a arc buff, a mid-fight buff worth of goodness out of that. So that's a nice grab there. Oh, man. Dude, 489 actually posturing on this arc. Where is GT, bro? Where are they?
The real question is, how is 489 able to recapture the Shrine of Life with that many marches around that Shrine of Life?
Whoopsies.
There isn't any 60 GT marches right now. And we're getting to that point where like 2 minutes in is like you could start a fight now and then maybe you could refresh and do it in the backswing. But when there's less than a minute left, when there's less than a minute left, whoever wins the mid fight usually wins the arc. So
I mean, bro, think about it this way. If 489 was able to move the arc that much when they didn't have the field, imagine how far they're going to move this arc when they do. And GT is, I will say, officially too far from middle right now to contest this. Where is GT, bro?
GT went the building game. They got 4 altars. They got the Shrine of Life. The only thing that 489 has is a Shrine of War.
What you're telling me is that GT is so confident. There it is. Sneaky tactics.
Sneaky tactics. Oh my goodness. Wait.
They're going buildings, right?
No, the sneaky tactics mid.
Yeah. The mid marches are going to go buildings.
Let's see. I think the mid marches are going to go for the arc.
No. They're using sneaky tactics to deploy on top of the arc? Sure, I guess so.
I think they're going to try to capture the arc here.
Okay. This is a way to get on top of the arc that I didn't expect. Is the AoE damage here revealing these guys from stealth, though?
I'm not too sure.
They're popping out of stealth, and I don't think they mean to be. This is the most sus play I've ever seen from 60 GT, that's for sure.
They've turned on stealth mode. It's Tom Clancy right now.
They are picking up the arc while invisible. Okay. That's a thing.
Let's see what happens here.
Or they will be revealed once they pick up the arc, right?
Oh, wow. 489 actually got the arc regardless.
Oh, that's awkward.
There you go. Total vision used by 489. So they're like, yeah, we could see all the GT marches. And as you said, Chisco, they don't need to capture this arc. All they have to do is they just have to make sure it doesn't get captured by 60 GT. But with the 4 altars being down, I don't know. Maybe you want to secure it just in case of provisions. Like we said, oh, there you go. Provisions starting to come in for 60 GT actually.
No, this is This is really
Yeah,
sus.
this is you have to capture it if
This
you're
is
60GT.
you know, what's the expression for the most simple explanation is the most likely one? Whatever that
This
is,
is
that's what's happening right now. The most simple explanation here is 489 is in control, and they may even score this arc. That's the
They're
most
actually
simple
going
explanation.
towards they're actually walking towards outposts though. That's interesting. That's an interesting maneuver.
Yes, it's actually Occam's razor is the name of that phenomena. If you have
Oh,
two
okay.
competing ideas to explain the same phenomena, you should prefer the more simple explanation. Right? The more simple explanation here is that GT didn't make it to mid on time, and
So
they did what they
yeah.
could, but it doesn't look like it's enough. The only option they have now is to try to take this arc and score it at the outpost, which, like, good
Yeah, I
news
mean,
for them.
I'm
489 is
489's
doing them the
walking towards
courtesy
the
of walking it
outpost.
to the
Yeah.
outpost. So,
Uh,
okay, here we go, Plato.
This is, I mean, to be fair, there aren't enough 60GT marches to
No, I don't think so.
contest that, so it's pretty safe. But yeah, I think this just proves that 489 want to capture this arc. They want to make sure that 60GT can't win off provisions. So they just want to create more of a space.
You know what's interesting is, like, assuming perfect intelligence and perfect understanding of the situation, which certainly I won't claim to have, but if we assume that GT fully perfectly understood the situation, then their choice to do sneaky tactics in middle and go for buildings meant that they thought the arc alone was not enough for them to win. Right? That's the only reason you go buildings and arc is if you think the arc is not enough to win, which is what they must have thought.
I actually think that 60GT thought that they thought 489 was for sure going to send everyone mid. So their counterplay was take all the structures while trying to slow down arc as much as possible so that they can diminish the structure game, and then from there try to win off provisions. Like they're gonna try to diminish the point differential for the provisions to actually put in work. But yeah, I don't know, like, because there's no way they're capturing that arc with only sneaky tactics. We've seen sneaky tactics and master strategies employed at the same time, trying to teleport the invisible marches away with the arc. But yeah, I think that was the play for them. They just want to make sure that
I mean, these plays are cute, but they're not good, and they're certainly not consistent, right? Like you can't count on an outcome with that. Oh, the provisioner's out here getting wrecked by AoE. Whoopsies.
The thing is, though, like 60GT, the only thing that they can do right now because of that mid pull is these Hail Mary plays, because that mid pull was literally devastating for them. That pretty much sealed the deal for 489, the fact that they lost mid but won the arc. So I actually think for both teams, they played really, really well. It's just that one slip for the arc for 60GT. And if they were to replay the game, I actually think 60GT would be in the advantage right now.
Yeah, no, missing that arc carrier, which, look, we as casters missed it. If GT won the mid fight by as much as they did, and the arc carrier got as far as that, like, GT must have missed it too. Or we're giving them too much credit, and it was just a terrible call to not go after the carrier. But I feel like they would have made the call to go after the carrier had anyone seen it, right? How did their whole team miss that?
I mean, that arc carrier was speeding though. Like that must have been like T1, catch me if you can. That was so fast the way that arc carrier was moving. But yeah, that ended up being the difference.
Absolutely. That arc pull was unbelievable. I mean, play the game right there. There it is. Wow. What a game. Actually really exciting. And more than a 3,000 point game, by the way. 60 GT, 286,000 points for the MVP DC Alano and 3,400 on the provision score. So that's why they took the risky split in the middle, is they knew they didn't have 5,000 provision points in them. They knew they were closer to 3,500. And so like I was saying, like they had to go buildings and mid in order to win. And so they had to take a risk. And I actually really commend going for like the 1% chance that you win rather than like the guaranteed chance that you lose if you continue on your plan. Right? Like I actually think that's smart. But man, 489, they actually crushed in the field. They couldn't win the mid fights. Well, the one mid fight at the start, but from there, I mean, they kind of dominated. They did not win in provisions, but they won an occupation score and they got those 2 arcs. Wow. GG's.
Yeah.
And good news, everybody. This is best 2 out of 3. So that means that we've got another match, and that next match is in less than 15 minutes. In fact, at 15:15 UTC, we'll be doing the next matchup here, which is really exciting. In fact, we can jump back to the caster's booth. So this next round is happening imminently. Pretty hype. So here's what we're going to do. Plato, do you have any other thoughts before we take a quick break between matches?
No, it's so unfortunate for 60GT that mid carrier just sped through and kind of dusted every single one of their marches, because that ended up being the difference. Like that really messed up 60GT's mid strategy, where they were like, let's control mid, because 60GT, they want to control mid, they want to control arcs through mid, and they also wanted to control provisions, and that would be the win condition, but it just ended up not working with that one pull from 489. So we'll have to see if they plan to move the strategy or if they're gonna run it back, but at least focus down the arc for the next match.
There we go, folks. So we're gonna take a quick break between matches. The stream will be live. In fact, we've got some special footage for you with highlights that led up to this moment in the finals where 489 is up a match. So enjoy this footage. We'll be back in less than 10 minutes to start talking about the upcoming match. So kick back, enjoy the highlights, and we'll see y'all in just a moment. Be right back, folks. A weird configuration of YYDS. Master Strategist! This is a very, very, very early Master Strategist play. This is unusual. They're going for the building game. This is a play we've never seen. How will this work out? There's Mystical from Voth.
So they do end up going with Mystical. So they value the Mystical over the Dust Up that GT prefers. Now, we'll see, although there are a lot of factors in a mid-fight, we'll see which has the most impact, at least from a first glance.
Prix is not so stacked in the middle right now. Yeah, and GT says, okay, go, go, go. Master Strategy from 93. Okay, so they're going to take the arc away. Did they do it? They didn't do it!
No, it looks the arc is still there.
The arc is still there. GT with the first pickup. I was targeting the 93 March because I thought they got there first, but no, GT. Not only do they have the presence,
so good,
but they got the arc. And, oh wow, and look at all the USD sad faces. That is insane. Oh my god. So 489 took the buildings all match long and then said, all right, have the buildings. Here, you hold those. Now you hold them. We'll take the arc. Thank you. And they committed to middle really hard. And sure, they lost an altar, but I guess they figure they'll get it back, right?
Wait, there's no 88 VH cities left.
Yeah. No, I think they actually just left the match.
Wow. They fully left.
I mean, not fully, but like pretty close.
There's like 10 people left. I'll consider that fully at this point.
I mean, the whole map is blue. You remember when I said,
Look at the sad
the
faces
mode
coming out of
is-
A97. Wow. The sad face train of A97. 489 showing their middle dominance here. No one has arc.
Yeah, it's still fine. It's still fine. That's good. Do they take it? Do they take it? It needs to survive. It needs.
Let's see.
No way. Did the Arc one not? The
Oh
Arc
my
one didn't get
goodness.
teleported. Adam,
There's too many marches. There's too many
Oh
A97
my God.
marches. For those that don't know,
Oh
the teleport
my
skill
God.
only takes 30 marches. Thus and watch 489 continue to win this arc match. I will say A97 and the Chinese teams. I would love to see more modes where I don't know what else you could integrate the Chinese server with the international server. I'm sure KVKs would be impossible because patches
KVKs,
release
yeah.
at different times. The 489 and
already to give a fatal blow. Observe the sums of time, guided by civilization. Light a beacon, spread the words. The war cries sound and fall afar. Fire and sword piercing through. We'll never surrender. For our lives, for victory. From the king of glory. The symbol touch the sky. Together, hard champion charge without fear. Climb the highest mountain. The way to glory is higher than the sky. The sail the world through the valley. And a hero that'll make history. Words will spread to countless. Temple the God will walk up
What is going on, Governors? Chiscool here, and we're back for round 2 of 489 versus 60 GT. 489 is up a game in this best 2 out of 3 series. And joining me back again in the caster's booth is none other than the esteemed Palato Gaming. Good sir, how are ya?
Yeah, it's been quite a while since we've last seen each other. No, we're joking. It's been about
A long 15
12
minutes.
it's been about 12 minutes since the last match, and both teams having to go straight into the next one. It's going to be super interesting to see if we see any adjustments from both teams here, as that last match didn't look as close, but these little margins really dictated the game.
I mean, what do you change if you're 60 GT?
Pick up the arc. Kill the arc carrier.
Is that the
difference.
only thing?
That was the difference. That was actually the difference, because they were down after that arc was captured, allowing for 489 to full send mid, with them knowing if they control that arc, then they win the game. So the thing about, as we've been saying throughout Grand Prix, as we've also said during Osiris League, if you have the lead in Arc of Osiris, you have all of the control in the game, because you can decide if you want to go buildings, if you want to go mid, and that's how 489 was able to control after that second arc. Well,
Yeah, I mean, not bad advice if you're coaching the 60 GT team to say, hey, next time, kill the carrier before they walk all the way to the other side of the map. Easy to say, maybe a little bit more difficult to execute, because even us as casters missed the triple C arc carry that brought that thing so far until it was already way too far.
It was such a dominant mid win by 60 GT that we're just like, oh yeah, they got the arc, no worries. There was like 2 marches left of 489. But those 2 marches proved to be clutch, as they were able to walk that arc straight to 489 inside. So
I mean, look, I missed it. I can't fault them for missing it, but you can't miss the arc carrier and expect to win in the grand finals. And it's the finals of the Grand Prix, rather. So yeah, here we are. So you would just run it back as GT, but this time actually take out the carrier. I do think there is one other adjustment. The one other adjustment I think they got to try to make is to adjust to the 489 building game opener, right? It's weird because let's talk about that for a second. If 489 goes buildings again and GT prepares for it, then they're in a good spot. If 489 does not run the same building strategy and GT prepares for it, do they lose the first arc? Like, I don't know what the answers are here, but I know what questions we can ask. Now, this time, the teams are changing colors, by the way.
Okay.
Looks like GT is going to be in red. I'm off to the side when my eyes are looking somewhere else. That's because I'm setting up for us to get into the match, which I believe we can enter.
Yeah, we could enter now. Yeah.
Okay. Super fast
The match is
turnaround
about
here.
to start.
Yeah, I mean, I hope y'all like the very fast downtime. I don't think they could do a shorter downtime between games, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
it's super fast. So
Back-to-back games for sure.
I'm ready to jump into the game now, actually. So let's pop in game. And by the way, for the early birds, y'all get the worm, so to speak, because I've got codes for you. Let me jump in game here. Full screen. Quick adjustment here. Okay, and let's get the first gift code onto the screen in just a second here. 2 codes will be on display in this matchup. So enjoy code number 1. You'll notice the gift codes are slightly less guessable than last week. So a little bit more difficult to enter, but also a little bit more tricky to figure out. The goodies have been actually really quite nice. So, you know, if I wasn't casting right now, I'd be entering that gift code for sure.
There are a lot of good goodies for these gift codes. And one thing I will say is, as you said, the opener for the buildings, it's tough because 60GT do want to go that mid focus or at least control the arcs. If you send too little mid and you lose the mid fight, it's going to be pretty tough for them to come back. So it's a balancing act for sure, where how do you really control? And I think it's all about their sentry placement in terms of how to I guess counteract the 489 building game, and we'll have to see what happens and how they respond to that.
Yeah, I mean, you know, if I'm GT, here's what I do. I adjust to the building game at the start, watch for the arc carriers more closely, and otherwise kind of run it back, honestly. I think you're right to kind of run it back, and I think slight adjustment at the start for buildings is the way to go. But Plato in 15 seconds, we'll see what they do. Last time you said it would be less than a 3,000 point game. What do you think this time?
I still think it will be. If 60GT captured that arc, it would have been less than a 3,000 point game. So
I agree with you. I think this game's going to be closer. I think 489 really got away with something last game that is so unusual at this level of the tournament, by the way. So here we go. The matchup begins. Let's go, baby. Sentries are down.
Different sentry placement for 489, by the way. They did it right at the entrance of 60GT.
Really? That is really unusual. So they're...
Maybe it's to scout the middle push that they did earlier.
Yeah. I think they want vision to the mid push that happened last game to say, like, hey, here's how we could stop that. But that leaves them super vulnerable on their weak side. They don't know where GT is going. That's unusual, actually. Okay. Well, this is exciting. Expect to see a pretty standard opener here. Like, I don't think either team is going to do anything too weird, but the fact that we do see the scout change for 489 down the middle lane is curious. Like, I'm intrigued. What are you up to?
Yeah.
What are you looking for?
Well, I guess you could actually see the amount of marches going to the top lane of each lane. Actually, if you look at the lines, I don't know if they can see the lines on their end, but when I'm looking from the vision range of Iset, there's a bunch of lines that show up all over the map. So maybe it's just like a two birds in one stone type of deal where they want to see each lane. So we'll have to see what they do with that information and if they were actually able to catch that.
Yeah, look at this. This sentry probably catches some of these blue lines on the right here. I mean, I suppose we could find out. We look at the visual range of blue, the visual. Oh, no, they don't see it. Oh, maybe they will. Maybe GT will get the, yeah, they get, wow, the very edge of vision. Look at that. All right. All right, we'll switch back to the visual range of both teams here. Exciting stuff, man. I think this matchup's going to be so much closer, truth be told. By the way, chat, do you think we're going to a 3-game series? What do you think, Plato? 3-game series? Is GT going to turn this around? Personally, I've always kind of felt that if you had a really insane building game,
Yeah.
it's hard to deal with.
Yeah. To answer your question, Chiskel, I think it's going to be, I think it's going to go to the 3-game series just because the last game was 60 GTs. As long as they just capture that arc, right? If they capture that arc, that would have been their game.
Yeah.
So I actually think 489 has more to, even though they won, they have more to actually change and kind of prove compared to 60 GT, because 60 GT strat was pretty much compact except for that last minute ability to not be able to capture that arc.
My thought here, I don't know. I think between the two strategies, I actually think that the building game strategy is harder but superior, personally. I think you get more control over the match, which is exactly what we saw. Like
it's a lot more skill based. It's a lot more skill based.
Definitely more skill based.
Because you have to, you just have to know how to fill march. You have to know how to fill structures. And the thing about buildings is, like, as long as the building, even if there's one march left, one troop left in the building, and it's still generating points, it's still the same amount, same amount of points if you like dominated that building. And what 489 tends to do is they have the exact right amount of marches at their buildings at a given time. So
it's hard to do that, by the way. It's like actually not easy.
And that's their practice. And you have to have a team that because for mid fights, right? You rotate mid. There is strategy to it, and you have to murder ball well. You have to know how to target swap and all that kind of stuff. But that's kind of the meta that we're accustomed to at least in the international servers, where people go mid and then they do their thing. But the building game, I feel like, has been this new phenomenon where it's a lot more skill based for sure, especially with the fog.
Yes. I feel like the fog absolutely empowered the building game. I agree. By the way, I was just looking around to see kind of where the pressure is. Ooh, that's a lot of shrines.
For all 4 structures taken in the top lane and in the top side here.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna last, but this
is what 489 does, though, right? Like they do have to find a way to sustain it, and it is really, I think, probably not a coincidence that 489 is getting into this building first, which is a huge advantage. They are taking arcs first, which is a huge advantage. Like, I think there's something to that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think it's they've practiced. I mean, you can tell.
Yeah, in the interview that they had, right? They said that they practice 4 times a week, and I think it's definitely showing where it's these little micro advantages, right? Being able to pull that arc away from 60 GT. That's like APM diff right there. You know what I mean? That's someone that's been practicing, an arc carrier that's been practicing carrying that arc. Same thing with the garrisons and the fillers, right? They've been practicing that as well. So I definitely think that's paying dividends for them.
And we watched this Sky Altar, and like, okay, it is very meaningful actually that GT was able to flip this, but a lot of presence.
There's no
here.
garrison there.
So is this opener going as well for 489 as it did last time? How is 489 able to put so much pressure downfield?
Yeah, it feels like the thing that's tough about having these back-to-back matches is the learnings from last match are fresh in your mind, but so are the scars. So we'll have to see if 60 GT, hopefully they're not down in the dumps after that last match, because it was so close. We'll have to see if they could recover from that loss and turn that into a W, because right now it's super dominant. My goodness, Jiskel. As you're saying, it feels like there's more marches out in the open field for 489 than 60 GT currently.
Yeah, so the thing is that when you go on offense so hard that your opponent feels like they have to be on full defense, you can empty your buildings that you would otherwise have to have filled.
That's true.
So I can't say
That's
for
true.
sure if they're doing that or not, but I would assume that's a part of the strategy here is, you know, the best defense is a good offense. So send more forward, force the enemy to react to that so they can't attack your structures. I would say this building game is going better for 489 somehow than it did last time, which is shocking because GT should be ready for this now, right? But to your point, how do you get ready in 15 minutes for this?
Yeah. And the thing is, like, what do you even do differently? Because they're sending all their marches to these buildings. It's not like they're not contesting them. It's not like they're rotating mid right now. Oh, actually, there are some people rotating mid right now. But those are the marches coming from home. So it's just like, what are you supposed to do? It feels like
there's only
489
so
just
many things
have
you can change.
So many people.
Right. Like,
yeah.
you can change where your marches are. You can change what marches you bring. You could, I guess, move equipment, but I don't think that's a factor. Yeah, I mean, there's not many variables here to work with. Did 489 use a skill even?
No, they didn't. They didn't use a skill this time.
So they're doing better without even using a skill?
Yeah.
Wow.
This
Dude,
is
489 is doing the work here. That's wild.
And the 60 GT structures don't even have first capture points. So that's the thing that's super tough about this building game early, especially, is if you give up these first capture points, you're giving essentially an arc worth of points just with the altars alone. So, like,
I mean, we know GT is a crazy good team, but if you saw this building situation in any other match, you'd assume, like, oh, it's just a landslide. The enemy team, did they even show up? Like, you'd be asking those sorts of questions if you just looked at who owned what buildings. So the fact that 489 is able to do this to such an accomplished team in 60 GT is actually just really shocking.
Their filling is just so strong. I'm telling you, double C. Hey, double C is double C. Julius Caesar
Triple
is
C.
even going towards triple
South
C.
Caesar. That's the combo.
South Caesar. Yep. The march is just sprinting from base going into the opponent's sky altar. It's just like, that's how they're able to fill these structures so well. And 60 GT, they're like, all right, the building game is over. Like, they got first capture points on least one of our altars.
Too much.
So let's just go full mid, and that's where they are. So we'll have to see what happens.
2 minutes left. Oh yeah, I better look in the middle.
It's
489 is like that like head nod of presence, like enough to weaken some of your marches, but not enough to do anything. Wonder if they're going to try to be sneaky. Looks like they're going to try to be sneaky. Oh yeah, they do maximum sneak engaged. Only possible, by the way, because of visual range. Look at that. I think, does this guy...
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah, look, they're being sneaky. Like, they're actually no cap trying to sneak.
Yeah, these
Sentry's here. They've got to see it now. They've walked into range.
Yeah, they see it.
Oh yeah, they just walked into range. Good sentry by GT. Gave them the information they needed. But with a minute 17 till arc, like, what even are these marches supposed to get done? TBH. I do think this is a little weird that, like, GT is so split right now. They've got a dozen marches and not engaged in combat. This is bad for GT, actually.
Yeah, because you definitely... That's one really good point, Chiskel, is you want to be doing as much DPS as possible.
Yeah.
Like, usually, like, for KVKs, it's like, if you're hitting something, then you're contributing to the murder ball. If you're not hitting something, then you're not contributing. Same thing goes for Arc, where if you're hitting a structure, at least you're, contributing to that structure going down. But if you're just standing around, not hitting the murder ball, or like this mid fight, for example, is already decided.
I mean, the thing is that GT got baited into a sloppy engage, and now 489 keeps bringing more troops. I don't know. I guess GT will get it.
Yeah, GT will get it, but it's a similar thing to last match where they can't rotate this murder ball and confidently take a structure because there are a lot of red, yellow marches here. So
right. This is weird. Huh. Well, okay. So first arc, looking GT. Unless this double C carries it all the way back. No,
that would
shot.
be yeah. No, they only lost. They got one guy just around the arc,
They got
around
some
the temple,
PTSD
just
about
being
that.
like,
No, sir, they're not gonna let that happen.
you are in charge of making sure there's no units, no marches around this temple. Make sure that we're able to capture this arc, and this guy is all 5 marches dedicated to that. So
The thing is, there's already a 5,400, almost 5,500. The point difference here is huge.
yeah,
and it keeps widening.
The first capture points, as well as
Whoa.
just having more structures, as well as being able to flip these altars, not allowing them to. The desert altar is generating some points. The sky altar will start generating some points if 489's not able to recapture here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna be an uphill battle here.
I mean, we got the 5,000 point differential plus the arc.
They're walking straight to the outpost, so I think
You know what?
they listen to you, where it's
Thank
like,
God.
hey, let's just capture all the
Please,
arcs.
just score it, man. Like, you're 60 GT. Play to your strength. Go smash them in the middle over and over until they don't want to play middle anymore. Like, that's what they should do. I'm really happy for this. This is the easy answer. Like, I said that holding the arc was probably not a good plan last match. It was not. Not for the reason you would have expected, but
Yeah,
there we
insta
go.
capture. There you go.
Good.
Okay.
Back to basics. We're 60 GT. We just run arcs, and that's how it should be. Just play to the strength, right?
Yeah, and this is the pivot that we were talking about, that you're talking about, where like if they just captured the arcs, maybe they could have won last match as well. So
right,
maybe this is the change that they made. Hold altars at least, and then from there run these arcs. And I think that's going to be a great strategy for them.
I ran that
'cause
strategy
we've seen
for
them
years, bro. For years.
Yeah.
I ran the strategy with SW of just bully mid and win literally every arc and just do it over and over. I'm like, you know, it's not the most sophisticated strategy, but it also, in this situation, feels really appropriate.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting. I think this is gonna be an interesting one. Even with that opener, the point differential is now 1.8k. So there'll definitely need to be some maneuvering for 489 for them to win a mid fight, because they can't just lose every single arc. With the current way that structures are going, it's not like they're free holding every single structure.
No.
60 GT, as long as they hold their 2 altars, I think they'll be fine in terms of points.
I agree.
If they win every single arc. So
GT wins this match if they win every arc. So what that means, however, is 489 will at some point have to pick one arc and win it. That's what that means. And it's not the first arc. Never is.
Might not even
with
be the second one.
strat. First arc
might
is
not even be the
literally
second
worst
one.
arc to win with a building strat. So
we
see folks moving in on the sky altar now.
The structures are even now, so that is pretty bad for the building strat for 489. You definitely need to continue to be gaining points per minute by having more structures in them, taking over the 60 GT structures.
Oh yeah, I think GT's doing exactly what they need to do. I mean, they got a little bit rocked in the opener, which kind of like is what it is, but they're recovering and they just run buildings now, or sorry, run arcs now over and over. Right? Like if GT keeps a stable building game and runs all these arcs, they win. Easy, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's a big question mark. Can they keep a stable building game? Like, I don't know. I think it's certainly within their capability to do so.
They 100% can. I think as long as they hold their altars, as we said previously, they'll be fine. And they traded that, like as you said, they got rocked. But at the same time, they won mid so decisively that they're able to practically insta-capture from taking the arc straight to the outpost for free. So that's the biggest difference, where they did lose the building game last match for that first arc, but they held that first arc, so it's not like they could expand on that lead because they're able to capture it right away, and they decided to. Now they're able to snowball into this consistent arc capture, and that's going to be their point of attack here.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually really a hype that this is the way that the finals are going with regard to like one team is a building team and the other is a arc team. Like this is way more exciting to watch, I think, than if both teams had the same strategy.
Yeah.
This is kind of hype to see the two strategies play out. And like I said, I actually think the building strategy is the superior, more difficult to execute strategy. But,
yeah,
you know, hey, ain't nothing wrong with just clubbing your opponent over the head over and over, which is basically what the arc strategy is.
Me smash mid is essentially the arc
seriously. Strat. Like GT smash is basically what I'm advocating for here. That's it. And it's not.
I will say 489, they have the murder ball first in this mid fight. So yeah, they're like, yeah, we can't just go full structure. We have to at least contest one of these arcs. The only thing is they tried this last match where they contested the second arc and they got obliterated. So
except
how will they change this mid fight? Yeah, they got obliterated in the open field.
Except they took the arc. I think 489's strategy is take the second arc, actually. I think that's it.
Yeah.
I think 489, they don't want to wait around for the final arc. I think they want the second arc because they want to control the pace of the game. Now, is it correct to go for the second arc given how, I don't want to say this, quickly it was scored? I don't know that that's true. Like, I think there's going to be many more arcs.
There's going to be a third one. Yeah, there's at least going to be a third one.
Yeah, they could have gone for the third arc here, but it seems like they are committing, if not fully, certainly early, to the second arc, which I'm not going to fault them for. And I like that GT pulled back here. We've seen 1v do this move where they make sure they group up fully before they engage. And I think that's smart. So I think GT is taking a more moderated approach to this mid fight, where instead of, you know, like the last one where like half were engaged and half were by the temple, they're grouping up, then they move. It's funny. I mean, I say this pretty regularly, but like the goal is to group, then move, not move, then group. Do you see the difference? Yeah. Like if you move, then group, you get wrecked. But if you group, then move, you dominate.
I will say though, 60GT, they have full vision of the 489 murder ball. 489, they're using this one march to scout, see where 60GT is. They don't know the exact numbers. And I actually think 60GT, with their murder ball, actually have the numbers advantage.
I don't know who's going to win this mid fight. I keep zooming out, Plato, to see like what are the numbers and all. But like
the dot count,
the dot count. But GT is going to win this mid fight. Actually, GT wins every mid fight. Like if you bet against GT, why? Why would you do that? Aren't they like undefeated in mid fights?
They have lost some arcs, but I haven't seen them lose a mid fight as of yet. So
yeah,
we'll have to see how that plays out here.
Right. I can't recall them ever losing a mid fight. So if that's true, like you put your money on GT for winning this mid fight. Now, I'm not saying 49 shouldn't go for it. I'm just saying like hopefully they have a plan.
60GT use just dust up. There you go.
There it is.
They're going in.
That's a nice engage right there.
To the death used by 489.
Wow. This is really bold.
It's to the death versus dust up and Heaven's Grace.
We've seen GT counters to the death. Like they have done this. They know how to counter this. They probably just use the combo they think is the answer. So I think this is almost certainly favorable to GT. This time with 21 seconds till the arc. Chat, don't worry. We're watching for the arc as well.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on the arc, Chess. I'll give you a play-by-play with the arc carriers.
Okay,
it looks
good.
Like
I'll keep my eye on the action, but you know, from what I see here, that's a lot of sad faces, mostly going the 489 direction.
Yeah, it's more even than the last mid fight though. But yeah, you start to see the Liang AoE skills where
Like,
the sad faces start pouring out.
I actually think to the death is not meta at this point.
Interesting.
I actually don't think it's meta. I think it's easy, but I think you probably don't want to the death on the bar. I think there's better things to do. That's my read on this. Like, if you can lose with to the death, why commit to that 6-point ability? The only reason you commit to a 6-point ability is because it actually wins, and it didn't. It didn't. Spoiler alert. Right? Like, that mid fight went about as well as every other mid fight against GT has gone. Not great.
That was dominant.
Yeah,
Wow.
not great.
I will say though, they did capture 2 60 GT altars, so that's a plus. They lost their own Sky altar, which is a minus. If they were able to control 4 altars here for a little bit, maybe it could balance out a little. But
not.
Yeah, these 60 GT mids are just so dominant.
This GT is doing the thing I said they should have done in the first match, right? Like, don't be cute holding the arc. Just score it over and over until your opponent loses the will to go to middle. That's what you do. If you can win mid fights by as much as they just did, every time you run that back over and over and over until you get that W, all the way till you've got your ring, you've got your trophy.
Yeah. Just keep pushing, keep doing what you're good at. And that's exactly what they're doing this match.
100%. Really, really great choice here, in my opinion, by GT. I love to see this. That's solid.
So with this arc cap, they're actually going to be up, and then they also have the provisioners too. So we'll have to see how 489 responds. I think they'll definitely have to win one of these arcs. I don't know how they will, because every single mid fight has been so 60 GT favored.
Yeah, decisive and one-sided. I think you are spot on. That, like, just like last game, 489, they can run buildings as well as can be done, but against a team of GT's caliber, they have to also get an arc. One of these arcs they'll have to get. Now, I think good news for 489. The way GT is doing this, there's going to be a lot of opportunities. Let's see if GT scores this. Oh, good. They're moving to the outpost to score it. I think that's simply correct. I think anything else is a mistake.
Yeah.
I mean, really, I've always felt like holding the arc, most people will not be critical of that play because it seems like you're being really strategic. But given that we know that 489 is running building game, you can't do that. And they got punished last round. Now they're not going to commit that same path, and they're gonna take the lead here, which this is looking very good for GT now. Yeah.
So the thing about capturing arcs as well as provisioning, the more point it creates more points within the match, right? Buildings, they have a set amount of points that they give, and it gets diminished every single time they get captured. So if you have more arcs as well as winning the provision game, you're overall diluting the amount of impact buildings have, right? Because if you have more arcs, that means there's more points, meaning that the points that the buildings generate is worth less. So I think that's kind of the way that they're going around it. It's like, hey, like they have 4 altars. That's kind of bad. But how we're going to counteract that is let's capture every single arc as soon as possible, allowing for 4 arcs maybe this match, diluting the point pool.
Yeah, I think they go for 4 arcs. I'd go for 4 arcs. Technically, you could get as many as 5 arcs, I think. It's
Master
not
Strategy is
easy.
the last one.
Yeah, it ain't easy, but like it can be done. And we do see a slight change in tactics here by GT. They are using Gorgo in the Shrine of War, which like either I missed it before or that's a change. Also, Xeno made a brief appearance. It's like she had her guest starring moment there. a cameo, if you will.
From Xeno.
The Shrine of War. Hello, Xeno. It's like throwing me back 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. Xeno's the lifespan of that command is crazy. I still think is meta in KVK, and maybe even during arc, just so that arc carrier doesn't, that garrison rather doesn't get pushed out, but yeah,
yeah. So the
with the
reason
Cav garrisons nowadays, you don't really do it.
No, like you're correct that I actually think healing is really, really good in Ark of Osiris in a way that is not good in other places because you just want to live for as long as possible. So I actually agree in that regard, and you can lock an enemy into a position, which is really good. But the reason we're not seeing more Xeno is that even though actually that is really powerful, the march speed is everything. And when you're running 4 cavalry, like it turns out that having a cavalry primary commander in the garrison is really good, or a commander that doesn't care about the troop type, which is where the Hera YSS is coming in. So it's either that Jan Ziska with Hera or the Hera YSS, and it's just, let me tell you, hey, Plato, have you ever been in a KVK where you're putting the wrong troop into a garrison?
Oh man, yeah,
Those trades are bad, right? Like,
yeah.
so that's the issue here.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they just got to use calves. But I like, I don't know. You're spot on that. Wait, what's going on here? Obelisk? Hello?
Yeah, they've been capturing the obelisk back and forth. I'm not too sure exactly what's going on. Maybe just trying to sad face for this mid fight, but
yeah, it could just be disruption, you know?
yeah.
Could be sad facing, could also be disruption, where it does actually meaningfully influence your ability to teleport, but at the same time, does it matter 28 minutes into the matchup? I'm not sure it does anymore. By the way, 49 on 4 altars. They're like, all right.
For this, not even 4 altars. 4 altars gaining points for them. So
Woo!
they were down, but now they're up by 1.8k. So the point
there's
differential,
really some magic.
890 points per minute to 270 points per minute. By the way, Chisco, like that is.
Yeah, there's really some
the
magic
points.
to 489's ability to find these situations for buildings.
Yeah. And we'll have to see how 60 GT respond, because the building game is strong, but they are sacrificing their mid rotation to recapture these buildings. And then these marches that are recapturing these buildings are going to be lower health. So if there is going to be a mid fight that 489 win, and if they choose to, I think it is this one.
Ooh, you think so?
I think it is this one. Well, let's see. 60 GT, they have to start walking back home because they're just that sad faced. I mean, that low. So that means 49, they have the positioning advantage. They already have marches walking to mid. So do 60 GT, to be fair.
I feel like, unfortunately for 49, they just don't have the luxury of choosing which arc they go for at this point. Like, they have to go for this, actually. They had to go for the second one for the same reason. But they actually had an option, right? Like, to get control early is good for them. It means they can use that control to force their enemy into a position. But like, now that there's only 26 and a half minutes left, right? Like, by the time the arc spawns, you're looking at 23 minutes, 15-minute hold on the arc. Like, this could be final arc. So they have to go for this. This is not...
They 100% do. And then with them not provisioning too, with them not provisioning as well, that creates an extra layer to everything, where it's like, like in the back of your head, it's like, do they have provisions? Do they have provisions? You know what I mean? So
actually, they've already scored 1,600 points of provisions in 489. Is this right?
I think it might be.
No, that's last game.
Bug. I think it might be bugged.
Okay.
Because the games that happen so fast is just like.
Oh no, it's updated now. Is this updated? Wait.
I see 736 to GT versus 172 to 489. So
I think it's updated now.
489 in mid. Look at 489 in mid, Chisco. They are doing a pincer maneuver.
Yeah, see this?
Have you ever seen this? Have you ever seen this maneuver work?
I mean, they're getting scouted, so the GT knows they're there. This is one of those cute, but is it good situations. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I don't know about this. So what do you do if you're GT? I think you hard commit to one side, clear that side, and take the 2-for-1 advantage. But that's not what they're doing. So I don't know. Like, if you catch an enemy split like that, you have to punish, and there's really no punish here. I don't know what they were doing. I
will say 60 GT, I feel like they have control this mid fight. I like
I
they're getting
mean-
some free poke damage here. Leopard just
If you were
getting some
betting
skill
money,
cycles off.
you'd be correct to bet that GT is in control of the mid fight, right? Like that is a safe bet. But
I'm
what
looking
is
at the
this?
altars right now.
489
I
is
don't know.
pulling away. That to me feels
Wait, this is like KVK murder ball. This is a,
Yeah, I don't know what's
this is a
going on.
KVK murder ball fight.
if you're 489, like they were kind of rage loaded. Like I feel like they could have transitioned that into a good entry into that fight, a good engage. But
Mhm.
all right, they backed off. Some of them had their rage reset, presumably, and then they charged in. Here we go. So
Desert Altar taken. So they're going a mix of things right now. 489, they got Desert Altar. They're gonna take Shrine of Life.
Yeah.
They have control of Sky Altar. So I think 489 strat is as long as we have one march next to this temple, and we could delay 60 GT, that's gonna be a win for them. With their building game.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
Yeah, I mean, they're still going buildings, obviously. So
Yeah,
why
yeah.
would you do this if you're 489? I guess the reason you push buildings is you think you can force them into yet another arc and you'll take that arc, right? Because this is risky for them now.
I think it's they trust in their ability to hold the 60 GT structures to the point where it makes up for the arc differential.
That is insane. I think that is a dangerous assumption. I'm not saying they're not amazing. I'm saying that's a dangerous
I think it's dangerous
assumption.
as well. But they trust their ability to hold structures more than they trust their ability to beat a 60 GT murder ball.
I
That
guess
makes
that
sense.
is actually reasonable when you put it like that. I guess it's a little bit more reasonable when you put it like that. And hey, look, the building game's not lying right now. 590 to 180 points per minute, but that's going to tick up like crazy. And it needs to if they're going to win. But are they going to win? I don't know.
This desert altar is going to be pretty tough for them to hold. But if they hold this desert altar, that's going to be a huge win for them.
I think GT,
Sky altar.
they should score this arc, right? Like they should snap this off.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
go for another one. They have to.
I feel like they insta cap.
Yeah,
There's
it's the cap for sure.
just because of the points. I feel like 49 has been stabilizing the building game, but as you said, the arcs get more and more and more valuable as the more arcs there are captured. So the difference between the building game and the structure game in terms of like the points generated gets 500 more every single time. So I think you just have to. Oh, they're actually holding. Cisco, they're not walking to the outpost here.
Well, that's uncomfortable for me. Maybe not for them, but for me. No, that makes me really uncomfortable, honestly. Like,
I think that's an indication that they're like, yeah, they just took back the Sky Altar, so they're like, okay, that's one thing check.
why?
The
Like,
thing-
why
the-
do this? This doesn't make any
Next
sense
thing-
to me.
It's I don't know. Maybe they're like
They don't like points.
one more mid fight. They don't want one more mid fight.
That they're gonna
49
win.
go all in for one more mid fight.
Like that
Yeah,
they're
I
gonna
don't know.
win. They don't want them in
It's-
the mid fight. They're gonna win. For what is it now? 4,500 points for the next arc, or is it 5,000? How many arcs has
Next
it been?
arc.
Too many arcs. So many.
This
arcs.
is here. Let me see.
This one is going to be
this is going to be the third
4,000 point
arc.
arc. So the next one will be
Yeah, so it'd be
4,500.
4.5. Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
the only thing that I would say, like, okay, cool, is if they're just holding for like a minute or two. They can afford to
Maybe.
set up right now, by the way. Like
Yeah,
so
maybe
they don't
that's what they're doing.
actually have to snap cap this arc because there's only one more arc anyways. And like, if they assume they're going to dominate mid, which like all data points to yes, then like they don't actually have to snap this off. They can take a couple minutes here and get stabilization and go when it's actually advantageous, which I think is totally fine.
Yep. I will say this desert altar hold is huge for 489. I don't want to cast a curse for them, but it's
Caster curse? What in the world? I've never heard that before.
the caster curse. You haven't heard of the caster curse?
No, go on and tell me more of the caster curse.
You bring up a structure like 489's desert altar is huge for them, and then literally within 30 seconds, the Desert Altar gets captured.
True. I have experienced the caster curse where you say a building is, oh, look, they have all the altars, and one flips instantly, right?
Or like, yeah,
That's
they're doing so
caster
well
curse?
filling.
Okay.
Yeah, they're doing so well filling, and then the structure
Building
gets
flips.
taken. Like,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
GG. This is what happens when you have to make a claim, is sometimes the opposite works out right on the screen.
Yeah. I will say though, these cow marches are running straight to these altars.
But there's one non-cav march here too, actually, and it's a Gorgo Martel.
Interesting.
I mean, you know what that garrison does. So
A lot of damage to the swarmers.
yeah, but it only works if your garrison is kept full. Like, you actually
Infantry.
have to reinforce the heck out of that garrison for it to do what it's
It also has to be
designed to do.
infantry. Yeah, it also has to be like majority infantry. That doesn't have
Yeah.
to be full infantry, but majority infantry for that to work.
Yeah. They scored the arc. Okay, here we go.
There you go.
They
Oh.
realized it's only one more arc anyways. We'll just hold it for a couple minutes. It technically could have been 2 more arcs, though. Like, they actually could have done that, right?
Just master strategies that last arc.
Yeah.
But I actually think this last arc is going to be the deal breaker. Like, if they just free win this arc again, then it's going to be super tough for 4 and 9 with the provisioning on top of it. I keep bringing back the provisioning because with games this close, like those 4K points that you could potentially get for provisioning, they got 3.5K last match. And now they're currently up to a 1.1. Like, that could be the difference between them winning or losing this game. So
It could be. So, like, I am not confident that just winning this last arc is enough for GT, weirdly.
if they don't hold their own altars,
Yeah.
for sure, then it's actually going to be a really close one. As the Sky Altar, I'm not going to cast against it. Let's watch.
Yeah, I was about to
Sky
say.
Altar.
It
Sky
might
Altar
flip.
does
It
what?
might not flip. They're doing a good job.
Oh, Garrison swap.
Yeah.
Swap. That's huge.
Yeah, they're really trying. Double C, trying to get in the
Okay.
garrison. There it is. I
This
guess
this
triple
this
C.
Sky Altar this Sky Altar hold might be the difference for 60 GT. They just took down the rally, so that means
Yeah.
that there's no garrison captain. Even if 489 takes this Sky Altar, there's no garrison captain for them to
Well, there is a swarming
to
captain,
fill
though.
with. Oh, there
You see him in the upper
is
left?
one. Yeah, there is one Heraclius bravely swarming
Yeah.
with the YSS throwing his anchors at the
Hey,
structure.
you know, sometimes you're out of bullets. You got to use an anchor. So it is what it is.
There you go. But
Throw everything.
that altar hold is huge.
Yeah, it's the kitchen sink strategy. You give it everything you
Yep.
got. Even your garrison captain tries to take down this structure here, but I do feel like GT has achieved a good amount of stability here, even though this thing looks like it's hanging on by the skin of its teeth, so to speak.
Yeah. So I think 60 GT is at a spot right now where they're building game strong enough to where like they're pretty comfortable with their building game, and they're really confident in their mid fight. So as long as they stabilize these structures and hold their altars and they capture this arc, then it's gonna be their game to win.
Dude, this game has been so insanely fast paced. It's like actually
Yeah.
hard to keep up with what's going on in this game.
There's been a consistent. It's like a pendulum, right? Chisco, where you win a fight, but then you're yellow and red, so then you don't have time to refresh, and your opponents walk home faster. You start sad facing, and then your opponents start pushing into you, and you lose your structures. We'll have to see if the timing of this pendulum will work out towards 60 GT side, or if it'll work out towards 49s. And right now, it looks like it's working out towards 60 GT, where they have this initial mid rotation. They've been dominant in these mid fights, so we'll have to see if 49 can can come back here.
I mean, this is a great spot for GT. This is like basically the best they could hope for right now is to.
Desert Altar is
be
holding
stable.
as well. My goodness.
Yeah, they stabilize their structures. Now they have to win the last mid fight, and they've won every mid fight all game. So come at me, bro. Right? Like that's it. This
Exactly.
Is, I mean, the only way you could dream up a better win here is if they had done better against the buildings. But I mean, that's not their strat. That's not their core competency either. Is the building game. That ain't it.
Yeah.
So they're doing like this is about as good as you could hope to do going into this fight, right? Like when the situation you want to be in is win the arc and I win the game, right? And for GT, they always win the arc. So unless they don't take out the carrier,
This is so nerve-wracking right now, though.
Look at this move.
It looks like
spreading out.
It looks like 489 is also like, hey, this arc, even if we take these altars, their altar holds, the altar holds of GT force 489 to have to go full mid.
They have to, yeah.
If they were able to take the Sky Altar and the Desert Altar, which were like one fraction, like one march away from falling, then they would have free reign of like, hey, should we go for altars and structures or should we go full mid? But now they don't even have rally set on 60 GT structures. So that's how you know that they are going straight for this arc, and they're putting all their eggs in this basket right now.
This is it. The final play. Now, let's talk through that for a second. 2 minutes till the arc spawns. Be about 11 minutes left in the game. Even after the arc is scored, there's still 7 minutes to do some stuff with buildings, which I feel 489 is going to have to do. What are they up to?
Yeah, they're I don't know what this is.
I don't know what this is. What is this?
Maybe because their left side. So the Sky Altar assault fell faster than the Desert Altar. So a lot of their left side is rotating late. So maybe this is their way of compensating. It's like, hey, we got a couple milliseconds here.
That is a millisecond optimization, that's for sure. 135 till arc spawns. To be honest,
they're going in. Oh.
No.
Oh, no, never mind.
I would not. Yeah, I thought I saw a march move in. I would not engage here if I'm 489. I would chill.
Interesting. You're chill.
They look at all the marches they have coming. Like, these are late. They're late to mid. If they take this fight now, they are at a disadvantage, and they can't afford that disadvantage. I would wait. I wouldn't go.
Dust up used.
I know it's like 60 seconds till the arc spawns, but all right.
Used by 60 GT.
This is it.
I think the second skill is going to be so crucial. Heaven's Grace, used by 489 here. I don't know if 60 GT. I think they barely. We'll have to. Yeah, there you go. Heaven's Grace just used.
A little late.
Even skills here, a little late. We'll have to see if that'll prove to be the difference. If there's any mid fight that 489 needs to win, it is this one.
This is it.
The sad faces, though, coming out for 489. I don't know how 60 GT. Oh, wait, there's some 60 GT sad faces as well.
It's a little more even than the other fights, but still.
It is. I think it's still 60 GT favored, though, in terms of the sad faces.
It's like I said, they needed those troops in the middle that were not yet there. And when you have an ability like that huge healing ability, in fairness, it maybe the value of attacking early was that 60 GT didn't have the ability points ready. But I don't know, man.
Yeah.
489 had a grab, but lost it.
Lost it right away, yep. Oh my goodness. This is devastating for 489 if they lose this mid fight. Let's see. 60 GT got pull. 60 GT got pull. It is a double C.
Carrier's down, but I think so is all of the 489 marches. So
yeah.
That
all the 489 marches are down.
Is not all she wrote for this matchup yet, though. So how could 489 win from here? they could take out the carrier.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. They're all streaming straight to mid. They're coming back for a salty rematch. They're like, yeah, we got to go for this carrier. We have to go for this arc.
But going to mid, is that really the play? Like, I think going on Canyon Wall on the outside is the play.
Yeah. They have like a mix of people,
Yeah,
but it looks
like,
like the initial marches are going
Chasing
mid.
through mid, that ain't it, man. I don't think that's the way.
And for 60 GT, all they have to do is walk towards this outpost.
Do you think they'll take it to the outpost?
I think they're taking it to the outpost. Like they're walking towards that direction now. I actually
Yeah, they are.
Maybe
I see the yellow line.
just because of the fact that they have a home stretch right now. If they walk towards their own side, I feel like it's more dangerous, right?
Yeah, I agree. It creates distance from, like, it's equidistant from both sides of the canyon wall, which is kind of what they need to do right now.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good play.
And let's see. Ooh.
I don't think they can get there in time. Like 49 can't get to that carrier.
That is huge.
This is big. So, wow. How does 49 win from here? I mean, it's exactly like I said. Like, even with the building strat, you do kind of have to win one arc.
Or you have to dominate all four altars like the whole time.
Yeah.
You have to do one or the other. And I think it would have been plausible if 60 GT didn't put up that hold against the Sky Altar push and the Desert Altar push right before the arc spawned. I feel like if those structures flipped, potentially 49 could have went full building. But because all their marches sad faced around those structures, they lost the mid fight. They lost their structure push, and then from there they were forced to go into a mid fight.
Triple C trying to clutch the carrier.
Triple C. Yeah, it's gone. 3, 2, 1. There you go.
There it
Wow.
is. Okay, so from
Huge.
here, this is big. 7 minutes left. This is not.
I would be nervous if
489.
it was flipped. Yeah, I'd be nervous if it was flipped, because if 489 was a provisioning team, then it'd be like, hey, they could still come back from provisions. But it's actually the opposite, where 60 GT is known for their provisioning.
It ain't
because
easy,
of that,
even with the building game like they have, to make up 3,500 points in 7 minutes.
Yeah.
That's a tall order.
Is it even possible? I guess
they're
if you
even
take all
down
the
points per
structures.
minute right now, so they are not on the plan.
So
they lost their Desert Altar,
as you said,
from that push.
Yeah, as you said, like 60 GT's kind of forte, or like their thing that they do is mid fights. 489, what they're comfortable with is these structure games, but because 60 GT was able to hold the structure game well enough that 489 felt like they were forced to go mid for that last push. That ended up being the difference. So yeah, as we said, the last game was 60 GT's to win as long as they captured that second arc. This game, they're like, yeah, we're not only capturing the second arc, we're capturing all 4 arcs this game to make up for that last one. So
I mean, I'm not saying I said from the very first match I thought this is what they should do, but from the very first match I thought this is exactly what their path to victory would be. And here we are. Yeah. This is the way to do it for GT. They just dominate the middle over and over. Club them over the head until they can't go back to middle anymore. I mean, technically you can't do that, but you know what I mean. What's their power down to? Yeah, 178 mil. They're still chilling. Plenty of troops. They are not running out of troops. And quite frankly, I mean, if we look at the trades, do we actually have visibility to that? I mean, yeah, GT is now winning the trades overall. So they've really flipped around the entire tone of the match by virtue of running more arcs the way that they are.
Yeah, the pace of the game, as because if you hold structures, that means that you want to hold your structure. If you hold the arc, that means you want to hold structures. But we've seen 489 be able to take 60 GT structures, but we've seen 60 GT just be able to destroy mid fights. So this is exactly the change that they needed to do.
Yeah, this is the right adjustment. Very powerful. Likely we go to a third game here. So if we go to a third game, 15 minutes after this one ends is when that third game is going to happen. So that is what, 16:30 UTC will be the final matchup. If in fact, GT wins this game for the 2 out of 3. And if that happens, Plato, what does 489 do? I don't know what you changed. Like, you needed to get an
I
arc,
don't know.
you didn't.
Yeah.
Their opener this time was even better somehow than the last time, right?
Yeah. It's tough because what are you supposed to do in this situation?
If you can't win mid, like you actually just can't, you're outskilled. I don't know.
You can't win mid, and 60 GT was able to kind of, I feel like what they did was they kind of focused more on their altars to hold. So as long as you're able to hold your altars and you keep going mid, then you win that trade. Like you're trading shrines and potentially just altar flips.
I mean,
for
here's what I think.
A ton of points.
Here's what I think. If we actually reflect on how 489 won the first match, they actually won because of a trick play. Like it wasn't even a trick and it shouldn't have been a thing, but it was actually kind of a trick play that won them the game, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So they need a trick play. And it needs to not be stealing the arc right in front of GT's face, since they're probably pretty committed to not letting that happen again. So I think if you're 489, you need to have a trick play drafted up. Like this, sometimes teams use trick plays when they really shouldn't, when it doesn't matter and it just gets them a win more situation. But like this is the moment for a trick play. Not in this game. I think too late now. But like next game is when you use a play that like will work one time and then everyone will remember that you as a team did that thing. And that's how they win. I mean, if they're outskilled in the middle, which seems to be the case, then their only option is to pull off something unexpected, a trick play. I actually think that's the only way 489 wins the next game.
Yeah, it would have to be. I don't think they're known for that though. That's the thing. So it'd have to be some master strategies to take the arc where 60 GTs running straight to the outpost. So just master strategies, the outpost, and then hopefully you could capture the arc that way or something like that. Because there has to be some disruption in terms of 60 GT's ability to consistently capture these arcs over and over and over again.
Right. That's right. They need one arc. And if they can't get it honestly, then they need a little bit of dishonesty to do it, right? Like if they can't get it from strength, then they've got to get it from outsmarting, and that it's got to come in the form of a trick play. So that's it. I don't think you can count on 1960 wearing the beer goggles for yet another match to miss the carrier right in front of their face. Like that is unlikely. No. Like respectfully, like. And in fairness, I didn't see it either. You didn't see it either. Like none of us saw it. All right. But
it was sneaky tactics somehow.
Bro, I swear. I don't know how they did that.
Yeah.
But like, you know, there are only so many abilities, master strategy, sneaky tactics. Like one of those needs to be the play. And like, I actually think that's it. And then if they can get an arc like that, and have the same building game, that's how building strategy wins.
Exactly. So we will have to see in 15 seconds here. It does look like 60 GT will have their victory, bringing us to a game 3. This is going to be the first game 3 of the Grand Prix because we did have 2-0 sweeps for the 60 GT beating 93T and 489 beating A97. So
What a series.
the first game 3 of the Grand Prix going to the final series.
Seawill with the MVP for 60 GTs, 261,365 in the score. And there you have it. 2,500 provisioning for GT, 500 just about, 477 for 489. And that 33,000 occupation score is so impressive for 489, but it cost them 15,000 in arcs for GT. Tipped it over for sure. And by the way, in terms of killing, they were about even. So we're going to jump to a highlight reel showcasing those matchups again that led up to this moment. And then we'll have a countdown. And then we'll be back for round 3 of the Grand Prix. Subscribe if you haven't already. Toss a like on the stream. You also can subscribe to my channel and Plato's channel while you're at it. Links in the description. But let's go and check out those highlights, and we'll be back at 16:30 UTC for round 3. A weird configuration of YYDS. Master Strategist! This is a very, very, very early Master Strategist play. This is unusual. They're going for the building game. This is a play we've never seen. How will this work out? There's Mystical from Vogue.
So they do end up going with Mystical. So they value the Mystical over the Dust Up that GT prefers. Now, we'll see, although there are a lot of factors in a mid-fight, we'll see which has the most impact, at least from a first glance.
Prix is not so stacked in the middle right now. Yeah, and GT says, okay, go, go, go. Master Strategy from
Master
93. Okay, so they're going to take the arc away. Did they do it?
And
They didn't do
no,
it.
it looks the arc is still there.
The arc is still there. GT with the first pickup. I was targeting the 93 March because I thought they got there first, but no, GT. Not only do they have the presence,
So good.
but they got the arc. And, oh wow, and look at all the USD sad faces. That is insane. Oh my god. So 489 took the buildings all match long and then said, all right, have the buildings. Here, you hold those. Now you hold them. We'll take the arc. Thank you. And they committed to middle really hard. And sure, they lost an altar, but I guess they figure they'll get it back, right?
Wait, there's no 88 VH cities left.
Yeah. No, I
There's
think
a
they
couple,
actually
but-
just left the match.
Wow. They fully left.
I mean, not fully, but like pretty close.
There's like 10 people left. I'll consider that fully at this point.
I mean, the whole map is blue. You remember when I said...
Look at the sad
the
faces
motor
coming out of
is-
A97. Wow. The sad face train of A97. 489 showing their middle dominance here. No one has arc.
Yeah, it's still fine. It's still fine. It's good. Do they take it? Do they take it? It needs to survive. It needs.
Let's see.
No way. Did the arc one not? The
Oh
arc
my
one didn't get
goodness.
teleported. Adam,
There's too many marches. There's too many
Oh
A97
my God.
marches. For those that don't know,
Oh
the top
my
one skill
God.
only takes 30 marches. Thus and watch 489 continue to win this arc match. I will say A97 and the Chinese teams, I would love to see more modes where I don't know what else you could integrate the Chinese server with the international server. I'm sure KVKs would be impossible because patches
KVKs,
release
yeah.
at different times. To 489 and
a weird configuration of YYDS. Master Strategist! This is a very, very, very early Master Strategist play. This is unusual. They're going for the building game. This is a play we've never seen. How will this work out? There's Mystical from Vogue.
So they do end up going with Mystical. So they value the Mystical over the Dust Up that GT prefers. Now, we'll see, although there are a lot of factors in a mid-fight, we'll see which has the most impact, at least from a first glance.
Prix is not so stacked in the middle right now. Yeah, and GT says, okay, go, go, go. Master Strategy from
Master
93. Okay, so they're going to
Arc
take
control.
the...
Storm is coming, reveal the mystery. Hidden warriors already to give a fatal blow. Observe the psalms of time, guided by civilization. Light a beacon, spread the words. The war cries sounding from afar. Fire and sword piercing through. We'll never surrender. For our lives, for victory. From the King of Glory. The symbol, touch the sky. Together, heart champion. Charge without fear. Climb the highest mountain. The way to glory is higher than the sky. The sail the world through the valley. And a hero that'll make history. Words will spread through kindness. Temple the God will walk up there. Battle people legends never end. Swords come through the gates of hell. All will be ready. Unstoppable warriors, impeccable strategies. When the sharpest of blade are drawn, enemies will be cut. Like the symbol for all glory. Fight to the top, and will be my call. Storm is coming, reveal the mystery. Hidden warriors already to give a fatal blow. Observe the psalms of time, guided by civilization. Light a beacon, spread the words. The war cries sounding from afar. Fire and sword piercing through. We'll never surrender. For our lives, for victory. From the King of Glory. The symbol,
is going on, Governors? Chiscool here, and we're back for round 3, the final matchup in the Ark of Osiris Grand Prix. This is it for the whole can of worms, the whole kit and caboodle. This is the entire prize pool coming down to the best 2 out of 3. Each team has won once. 489 won the first match. 60 GT answered and won the second. Joining me to discuss and cast is none other than the esteemed Plato Gaming. Good sir, welcome to the caster's booth. Great to have you with me.
Hopefully everyone is enjoying their popcorn, their soda, because this has been the Ark of Osiris marathon, going the full 3 games, first time this Grand Prix, and it has been a series.
It has been a series. Yeah, that's for sure, man. We've got 489 with the building strategy, GT with the Ark strategy. You'll love to see the clash of these strategies, and both teams have pulled out a win. So who wins this last round, Plato? Who do you think is going to win it all?
I think 60 GT. If I
so too.
Just off of what we've been seeing, the first match should have been their match to win as well, but because of that second arc, that amazing pull by 489 and the I guess the tunnel vision that we all had, including 60 GT, it allowed them to win that game. It allowed them to score that arc. So we will have to see. It'll be 489's chance to prove this last game here that was not a fluke. That game is not a fluke. Them coming here, they can fight 60 GT, and we'll have to see in this match.
Yeah, I think in the grand scheme of things, having the stronger mid fight is the way. And the reason that 489 was able to win the first match is because they had a really great building game combined with a trick play. The trick play that wasn't even a trick. It was like in plain sight. So now my opinion is that 489 needs a trick play to win. They need to execute as well as they did and use a trick play to win one arc. All they have to do is win one, and they win overall. That's it. Now I say that's it, except between the two positions, I'd rather be in GT's position, quite frankly, where you have a mid fight that your opponent can't seem to find an answer for. That is
so Chisco.
terrifying.
I would check Discord currently, as we are getting some messages here. We might have a delay for this match.
Uh-oh. Okay. Delay of game. Possibly. To be determined. Hold up. Curious. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't actually have an earpiece in, but I'm listening to my earpiece here, and it sounds like we may need to pump the brakes on the start of this matchup. All right, so hold on, chat. Hang with us for a second. We're finding out now. We're receiving our guidance as to how to proceed.
With the matches coming back to back to back, there's just I was surprised that it went smoothly, to be honest. So we will have to see what we will do here, if it's going to be it'll be an interesting one.
We will find out. Folks, hang tight. We're all finding out what to do. All right, Plato, do you see what I see?
I see what you see.
All right, sir. It sounds like round 3 will have to be another time. We're going to live in suspense for who knows how long. We'll get guidance as to when the third matchup will go down. But for reasons outside of my control and your control, Plato Gaming, it's time to call the matchup for now, and round 3 comes later. So although the original game plan was just boom, 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 these back-to-back matchups, we're going to get back to you. The developers, presumably, will get back to you. Stay tuned to the official Rise of Kingdoms social channels for future match updates. There's the official language. I'm getting it from my earpiece now. Stay tuned to the official Rise of Kingdoms socials for future match updates. All right, folks? Hopefully you enjoyed today's stream. I'm hyped. Dude, I'm like I need this last
Wow,
matchup.
the cliffhanger.
What
the
a cliffhanger.
Chisco.
But this is
We
where
were
it's going to
right
have to
there.
hang. For now,
Yep.
stay tuned to the official Rise of Kingdom socials for what it's going to be. Plato, thank you again for joining me today. We'll be back at a date and time to be determined for the next matchup. Again, if you enjoyed the stream, throw a like on here, consider subscribing. Also, Plato and I each have our own YouTube channels where we aspire to create videos and live streams that entertain you and help you get value. And as I say on my channel, smash your enemies. So hopefully you enjoyed today's stream. Look forward to when we'll be back to find out the exciting conclusion to this cliffhanger. And until next time, you have fun smashing the kingdom. We'll see y'all soon, hopefully, to, man, I really want to know who's going to win. We'll have to wait.
We will